Guys might be thinking about another question. I want to talk about, why is this time a ripe time for the introduction of AI in our space, right? From the last speaker, we talked about, the pandemic changes that's driven a lot of automation, necessary automation, and, replacing some of the changes in demographics in the industry that folks are working. Nick, you talked about some macroeconomic factors such as, annuities really taking off right now, driven by interest rates. Dror, you touched a little bit about just, customer behavior right now. So why do you think, especially you've been in the IT field for a while, Dror started IDDAT in 2016. Why do you think now is the right time for this AI to take on?
So I think there's probably three reasons. Number one, we're getting better at mining our own data, right? So if you go back 5 years, most insurance companies didn't have access to the data level at which you need to even begin this journey. So I think our technology and our understanding of our own data and how it's mapped has gotten better. I know it's very fundamental, but I think that's a pretty key part. I think there's absolutely need for cost effectiveness and scale in our industry. Things just take too long. I actually sat in a McKinsey meeting, and it was actually very depressing. I've been in the industry for 23 years working in technology, so this really hurt, like, to my core. We have spent tens of millions of dollars to create a better new business process. Can anyone guess how many days we've shaved off the new business process and annuities in the last 10 years? 1 day. And I know it's been hundreds of millions of dollars across distributors and carriers, and we got 1 day back in a decade. I mean, that hurt. I've been doing this for... And then on the life insurance side, slightly better, but it's still only 4 days off of 45 in the industry. So all the work we're doing is around the peripheral. We're not using data. We're not just... So I think there's an expectation of our customers, an expectation of our agents, and where we need to get to. And I think that speaks to the scale, right? So getting this done faster, understand, putting products in front of people quicker, that's kind of ripe for the taking at this point in time. And then I think there's also interactions with our agents. The agent population is shrinking. They're aging out, and a lot of people are not going into the agent population, but the amount of people to serve hasn't gone down. There's still the same amount of people that, from a macroeconomic perspective, need the products in which we sell: protection and insurance and income for life. So as you have a shrinking agent population to service those people and a maintaining or growing servicing pool, things like AI and data-driven conversations and some of this automated stuff allows an agent to be kind of what we call a cyborg agent, where they can be in front of their clients on a regular basis without actually having to be in front of their clients on a regular basis like they used to be. So I think those three factors are really putting us in a position that we can start to look at and adopt and get serious about data, the use of data in decisioning, and AI.
I'll add a little bit more to this. I think obviously the COVID impact from this perspective helped companies very much to digitize their processes. We've been doing this for a few years now, and the improvement on the IT side of the carrier from where it was in 2016 to today is night and day. The ability to get access to the data, mine the data, put all the data in one place, major improvement, and that's the basis for all of this. When we started, everybody was saying, like, we don't have the data, and many of the carriers are still in that situation. It's not like they don't have the data. It's just getting to this data is so hard. But many of the carriers are already at this journey of having the data streamlined and automized and put in one place, so you can start doing this mining and analyzing of this data and come up with these models on top of that. So that's definitely something that makes it more of an opportunity today to go and do these AI projects. I think the other thing, is the economy. Like, it's one of the other things that you hear a lot from McKinsey, but also some of the other consulting groups, is that in-force management for years was like, let's do some expected versus predicted and look at the charts and see that it's going in the right direction and do nothing about it. And Life was a little bit of an earlier mover into this. Annuity is joining in the last year or so. Both of them are very much behind P&C, and all of this very much behind financial services. So the expectation of servicing the customer over time and having multiple touch points and understanding what to do in those touch points is almost like a new notion for life and annuity, and that creates a lot of opportunities for the first mover advantage. For the first mover, that creates a lot of first mover advantage from that perspective. And I think also the fact that the agents population is aging, the younger agents are less intimidated by technology coming into the game. Like if you speak to the kind of old school agents servicing the old school customers, it's probably done in an old school way. A lot of kitchen table and the country club and so on and so forth. But there is a lot of newer generation that is getting to the point of buying these policies, and they buy it from different agents, and because those agents are also younger, and they're less, and they're more accepting of this kind of new capabilities, and don't mind getting these insights and getting this data and getting this support to help them succeed in the business. In many of those kind of discussions, I keep thinking about myself as someone who's supposed to be a prime candidate to buy life insurance. I have a family, I have a business, I check many of these boxes, but it's still very hard for me to make the decision, despite the fact I'm in the industry and I understand most of the products and I understand the ins and outs of some of the insurance companies. It's still a very hard decision to make because many of these data points are not necessarily available online. It's very hard to compare. It's very hard to quote. It's very hard to, beyond just simple term, it's very hard to analyze the product online. It's, you have to speak to an agent to do almost anything. So I think my generation for sure is going to look for some more of a hybrid relationship. It's also that I don't necessarily want to make the entire journey online, but I want to get to the conversation with the agent way more informed than I am today. And I want the agent to be able to show me way more combinations and simulations and scenarios than what they typically can do without any of these new tools. So I think all of this creates this opportunity because the agents are more accepting, carriers are more accepting, the technology is there, and the economy pushes all of us to create this efficiency and drive growth from the existing block versus throwing more money on marketing and attracting new customers. So all of this kind of creates a lot of pressure towards all in the same direction of how do you grow the existing book, and to do that, how do you get more signal, how do you get more data, how do you get more information to be able to service these customers better.